Hi, I'm Billy. 3 months ago, I had what most people would call a perfect life. Nice suburban house, decent job as a pharmaceutical sales rep, and Mark, my husband of 7 years, who worked as a physical therapist. Everything seemed fine until my best friend Jen started noticing things I'd been too trusting to see. Billy, have you checked Mark's phone lately? Jen asked over coffee at our favorite diner. Why would I do that? We trust each other, I replied, stirring my latte absently. Jen leaned forward, her bracelets clinking against the table. Because he's been acting weird every time I see him. Always checking his phone, always working late. Classic signs, sweetie. Mark wouldn't cheat. He's not that kind of guy. I brushed off her concern, but my stomach tightened. That's what Diane said about Rick before she caught him with his receptionist, Jen countered, tapping her long nails on the table. Just be aware, okay? That night, Mark came home later than usual, smelling of unfamiliar perfume. How was work? I asked casually as he set his bag down. Exhausting. Mrs. Peterson's hip is giving her trouble again. He barely looked at me, heading straight for the shower. You smell nice, I commented, following him to the bathroom door. Mark froze. Oh, new cologne. Sample from a patient? Female patient? I raised an eyebrow. Don't start, Billy. I'm tired. He shut the bathroom door firmly. The next day, I called Jen in tears. You might be right. He's been so distant. Meet me at Cafe Luna in 20, Jen commanded. Don't do anything stupid yet. At the cafe, Jen slid into the booth with a determined expression. I did some digging. What kind of digging? I asked, alarmed. The necessary kind. Remember that Christmas party where I met his coworker Veronica? Jen pulled out her phone. Well, I follow her on Instagram. Look at this post from yesterday. She showed me a photo of a woman's hand with a distinctive bracelet resting on what looked like a physical therapy table. The caption read, Special treatment again today, #blessed #special therapy. That could be anything, I protested weakly. Billy, that's Mark's office. See the painting in the background? The one you gave him for his office? Jen zoomed in. My heart sank. That doesn't prove... There's more, Jen interrupted. My cousin Mia goes to that clinic. She saw them together after hours last week. Said they were very friendly. Very friendly could mean anything, I said, fighting back tears. Billy, Jen took my hands, her voice unusually gentle. She saw them kissing when they thought everyone had left. I felt like I'd been punched. Are you sure? Mia has no reason to lie. And there's something else you should know about Veronica. What? I whispered. She's been through 3 marriages, all to men she met at work. Jen squeezed my hands. You need to find out what's really going on. The next morning, I called in sick to work and headed to Mark's clinic during his lunch break. The receptionist, Tanya, had always liked me. Billy, she exclaimed. What a surprise. Mark just stepped out with Veronica to grab lunch. Together? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Tanya's smile faltered. They've been having lunch together a lot lately. Is everything okay? Just peachy. I forced a smile. Mind if I wait in his office? I brought him something. Of course not. You're his wife. She waved me through. In Mark's office, I found a drawer full of hotel receipts and a bottle of expensive lubricant hidden behind medical journals. My hands shook as I took photos with my phone. I was about to leave when Dr. Patterson, Mark's boss, appeared in the doorway. Billy, is Mark expecting you? Just dropping something off, I replied, tucking my phone away. Dr. Patterson, can I ask you something? Has Mark been working late a lot recently? He frowned. Late? No, he's been leaving early most days. Said you had some family situation requiring his attention. Did he now? I felt ice forming in my veins. Is everything all right? Dr. Patterson asked, concerned. Not really. I think Mark is having an affair with Veronica. Dr. Patterson sighed heavily. I was afraid of this. There have been rumors. Rumors? I pressed. Nothing concrete, but enough that I've been watching them. Hospital policy strictly forbids relationships between staff that could compromise patient care. Could you help me? I asked suddenly. If I can prove it's happening here on company property. Dr. Patterson considered me carefully. What did you have in mind? That evening, I met with Jen and my cousin Rick, who worked as a private investigator. So I can legally record them if I'm in a public place? I confirmed with Rick. Yes, but not in private spaces without consent, Rick explained. However, Dr. Patterson can authorize surveillance in treatment rooms if he suspects policy violations. He's on board, I nodded. But I need more than just workplace evidence. I need to catch them, in the act, Jen suggested bluntly. Exactly, I confirmed. Mark keeps a special weekend bag. He's planning something for this Saturday. Told me he's going fishing with his brother. His brother who lives in Australia? Jen scoffed. Precisely, I replied. Rick, what are my options? Rick leaned forward. We follow him, document where they go, and report any illegal activity. Like what? I asked. Well, if they're trespassing somewhere or breaking other laws. Jen snapped her fingers. Mark's family has that lakeside cabin, the one his parents left him that's technically condemned but he keeps using anyway. Without permits or inspections? I added, remembering Mark's cavalier attitude about the property. That's trespassing and violation of the condemnation order, Rick noted. If we alert the sheriff? They could be caught in a compromising situation during a legal inspection. I finished, a plan forming. And if something were to happen, Jen added with a mischievous glint, like, say, an allergic reaction to some product they're using. What are you suggesting? I asked. You work in pharmaceuticals. Jen raised an eyebrow. Any non-harmful substances that might cause an embarrassing reaction when mixed with intimate products? Saturday arrived, and as expected, Mark left with his fishing gear, but headed straight to pick up Veronica. Rick, Jen, and I followed at a distance as they drove to the condemned lake cabin. They're inside, Rick confirmed through binoculars. I've alerted the sheriff about the condemned property violation. They'll be here in about 30 minutes. Just in time, I muttered, watching the cabin. Earlier that week, I had replaced Mark's lubricant with a special formula from our lab, a non-toxic compound that, when mixed with certain perfume chemicals, like Veronica's signature scent, created a temporary adhesive effect and mild warming sensation. The sheriff's car pulled up just as Rick's listening device picked up sounds of distress from inside. Something's wrong? Veronica's voice came through clearly. Mark, I can't move. We're stuck. What do you mean, stuck? That's not possible. Mark sounded panicked. I mean stuck, you idiot! Like glued together! And it burns! The sheriff knocked on the door. County Sheriff, this property has been condemned. Open up! Silence. Then Mark's strained voice. We can't come to the door right now. Sir, I'm authorized to enter this premises. I'm coming in. What happened next was captured perfectly on the sheriff's body camera. Mark and Veronica in a compromising position on the couch, unable to separate, both in obvious discomfort. Ma'am, sir, are you in need of medical assistance? The sheriff asked, fighting to maintain his professional demeanor. Yes! They both shouted in unison. I'm burning! Veronica wailed. What kind of cheap products do you use, Mark? It's the same stuff I always use, Mark protested, then froze as he saw me enter behind the sheriff. Billy? His face went from red to white. What are you doing here? Fishing, I replied coolly. Just like you. You did this, Veronica accused, attempting to point at me while still attached to Mark in an undignified position. Did what? Replace your love nest with a condemned property that you're illegally occupying? I smiled sweetly. That was all your boyfriend's doing. The sheriff called for paramedics while maintaining the scene. Sir, you're the owner of this property? Yes, Mark admitted reluctantly. Then you're aware it was condemned last year as structurally unsafe? Mark glared at me. Billy, what have you done? Nothing illegal, I assured him. Unlike you two. When the paramedics arrived, the lead EMT, Collins, assessed the situation with remarkable professionalism. How long have you been adhered? He asked, examining the affected area without touching. About 20 minutes, Mark groaned. Can you fix this? We'll need to transport you both to the hospital, Collins explained. This looks like a chemical reaction. She did it! Veronica shrieked, pointing at me again. She sabotaged us! I shook my head. I replaced nothing. The lubricant is the exact same brand he always uses. Perhaps it's your new perfume causing a reaction? The one with the experimental chemical compound that hasn't completed FDA testing? Veronica's eyes widened. How did you know about my perfume? I work in pharmaceuticals, remember? Your exclusive fragrance has been flagged for potential allergic reactions when combined with certain substances. 3 hours later, Mark and Veronica had been successfully separated at the hospital, treated for minor chemical burns, and cited by the sheriff for trespassing and violating a condemnation order. I sat in the hospital waiting room with Detective Rodriguez, who had been called in due to Veronica's accusations. Mrs. Green, did you deliberately cause this situation? Detective Rodriguez asked, pen poised over her notepad. Detective, I replaced nothing, I stated firmly. The product was exactly what it claimed to be. The reaction occurred because of Veronica's non-FDA approved perfume, which she shouldn't have been wearing. That checks out, the detective nodded. The hospital confirmed the reaction was consistent with the known issues with that fragrance line. What about the trespassing charges? I asked. Your husband will face fines, possibly community service. Miss Veronica Baker is also being investigated for prescription fraud based on information that came to light during this incident. Prescription fraud? I raised an eyebrow. She's been using your husband's prescription pad, Detective Rodriguez explained. Dr. Patterson is cooperating with the investigation. Mark approached us, looking miserable in hospital scrubs. His face was blotchy, eyes red. Billy, can we talk? Privately? He pleaded. Detective, are we finished? I asked. For now. We'll be in touch if we need anything else. She nodded and stepped away. Mark sat beside me, wincing slightly. Billy, I made a terrible mistake. Several, actually. I corrected him. I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen. His voice cracked. It was just supposed to be a fling. It didn't mean anything. That makes it worse. Not better, I replied coldly. Please, we can fix this. 7 years of marriage. 7 years of me believing in you. I cut him off. While you were planning rendezvous in condemned buildings and risking your medical license? I'll do anything, he begged. Counseling, whatever you want. I want a divorce, I stated simply. Billy, don't throw everything away. You already did that. I stood up. The divorce papers will be delivered Monday. Dr. Patterson has already agreed to testify about your workplace misconduct if needed. You've thought of everything, haven't you? Mark's tone suddenly shifted, growing bitter. I learned from the best manipulator I know. 2 weeks later, I met Jen, Dr. Patterson, and paramedic Collins, who turned out to be Jen's cousin, for coffee. The divorce is proceeding smoothly, I told them. Mark lost his job and Veronica is facing criminal charges for prescription fraud. And the cabin? Jen asked. Being renovated properly with permits, I smiled. It'll be my weekend place once it's up to code. How are you feeling about everything? Dr. Patterson asked gently. Lighter, I admitted, like I can breathe again. Collins chuckled. That case will be legendary at the firehouse for years. Speaking of legends, Jen nudged me. Have you thought about what's next for you? I smiled, feeling genuine happiness for the first time in months. I'm just taking it day by day. But I know one thing for sure. I'm never ignoring red flags again. To new beginnings, Dr. Patterson raised his coffee cup. And proper chemical warnings, Collins added with a wink. To freedom, I concluded, clinking my cup against theirs. Have you ever ignored warning signs in a relationship? What would you have done in Billy's shoes? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories of sweet legal revenge.